Okay, where we left off, we just highlighted this range and we went over here and we applied the currency style. And then down here we just used the sum function and we used the auto sum button. And what this is doing is grabbing the values running from E18, E18 colon to E20. Okay, so now we're gonna, so when you do your sum for these three locations, that was number 9. So now we're going to move on to number 10. Number 10 wants us to click over here on G23, and you can verify that here, or you could even type, if you can't visually line it up, you can go over here to the name box and type G23, press enter, and it will position you. Now we're going to type equals NOW, and we double click, it'll return the current date and time, the computer system date and time. So if you double click, now this we don't have to enter anything in. All we have to do is press enter, and you can see it returns the computer date and time. Now we're going to format this. So we're going to format it. If you go up to the number group, but we're going to launch this dialog box. That way we can get our category list. And in our category list, we're going to select date. So let me move that up. So if you click on date, and if you follow your set of instructions, it wants us to select this particular style, and here's a sample of it. And if you select OK, you can see how it's converted into that date style. All right, now that was all of number 10. And lastly, when it tells you to press Control Home, that's just asking you to go directly back to cell location A1. Now we're going to go over, so we created a horizontal lookup. Now we're going to go over to the family day spreadsheet, and we're going to now create a vertical lookup. So every time it recognizes that word, it'll return the goal amount. So that's here. So whenever it recognizes the word, we're going to have it count to 2 and return this goal amount. So let's go ahead and set that up. Now the only difference is for this time, we had a named range, where the second time we're not going to have that opportunity. This time we're going to have to type in the actual table where we're going to say, okay, it's on the table worksheet, and the location begins from A6 to B10. So we're actually going to have to type all that out. So let's show you how this is done. So let me blow it up. And we're going to start here in F6 and start with an equal sign. Start typing out VLOOKUP. You'll double click down here on the function itself. And then we have the first thing is our lookup value, which is this word raffle tickets, comma. Now I explained we want to type out that worksheet name exactly, which is tables. And you need an exclamation point so it understands that is a worksheet name. And our range is running from A6 colon to B10. And again, our ranges can never change when we're copying this handle down. We want this to count up to E7 because we'll look at this next one, the next one, and so forth and so on. But it doesn't matter which one we're looking up. It still has to stay within this range. That way it doesn't miss a cell or include empty cells. So just start including your dollar symbols. So make sure it's before the letter and before the number. And then comma, and lastly, 2. We're not looking for an exact match, so we're going to leave that omitted. So, and just end parenthesis and press enter, and it returns the value of 500. So again, I'll double click on that so you can take a look, and we'll open it up from the function argument dialog box this time. And you can see. So it's saying here the lookup value, and you can see where it recognizes the text. This is where we're going for our table. You can see it's recognizing all this information. We're going to the worksheet name tables, and it's going to run from range A6 to B10. And then it knows that it has to count over 1, 2 columns. And what it does is going to return whatever value is sitting there. Okay, once you do that, we have one new step we're going to learn with copying this stuff down. If you notice, the fill color is yellow, white, yellow, white. So when we copy this down, we convert our mouse pointer over top of the screen square and we pull it down. You'll see that we have this little button here. You want to click on that and you want to select it. You want to fill without formatting. So we're filling the formula down, we're just not formatting. And then we'll go back and we're going to apply our currency style, and then we're going to make sure we get rid of those zeros. So we're going to make sure that we decrease the decimal 2 times. So that is everything in number 11. So now number 12, we're going to create a function. We're going to learn about that, which is an if function. Now the if function is going to do a comparison. The comparison will be, okay, somebody originally set all these gold amounts, but somebody went and sold these raffle tickets, and this is what they actually brought in, and this was Bob. So we're going to determine, we're going to set up an if function to say, if this number is larger than that or equal to, then we're going to return the word yes, it met the goal. So, but if it didn't meet the goal, or you could see this number has not, it's lower than the 250, then we'll return the word no. So let me show you how we start to set that up. So as usual, we always start with our equal sign and start typing the word if. Double click on if. Now it's a logical test. That's the first part of your argument. So the argument will be, so we click on this and we're asking, is that greater than or equal to this number? If it's true, if it is, whenever we turn a word, it must be in quotation marks. So the word we're going to return, don't forget to capitalize the Y based on your set of instructions, we'll return the word yes. Else, we'll return the word no. And then we'll end parenthesis. And that's how an if function works. So I'm going to check mark it to accept it. And you can see the goal was reached because it is larger than or equal to. Now, again, same thing, you can open up the function argument dialog box and you can see where when this has been compared, we end up with a true statement, and that's why it's returning the word yes. If it was false, it will return the word no. So you can see what's being returned back. So again, when you click into these different fields, it'll explain to you what's necessary to fill inside of it. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy this down, but we're not going to allow it to fill with the formatting. So we want this third option without. So we still remain our yellow, white fill option, but also make sure you click on center because they want these words centered within that column. So that was all of number 12. Now our last step to this assignment is number 13. So we're going to add a new worksheet. So I'm going to click on this plus sign down here at the bottom. That adds a new sheet, but I'm going to use a click and drag approach because I want to make sure that it shows up as the last sheet. And I'm going to double click over top of it and I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to type in there range names and make sure you spell these correctly and with the make sure it's capitalized if it's capitalized in your instructions, otherwise it won't even recognize the worksheet name. And press enter when you're done to accept the change. And all we're going to do is all this stuff that we named over here, we're just going to paste those names. So all you need to do is click on formulas and then you click on used in formulas, and right here it says paste names, you just click on that and then you're just going to paste your list. Now I'm just going to click, if you notice, in between the A and B, and let me blow this up so you can see. So I'm going to position in between the A and B. I'm going to change my mouse pointer and double click and it will auto fit column width. Same thing with B. I'm just going to double click. So all it's showing you is everything that we had named. You can see when you go to this table, this cell location is now named as Candy Sales because we had used this originally at the beginning of the project. And then here is our range. You can see the range B1 through F2 has been named as aged rates. So you just position yourself back on A1 and save it and upload it for grading.